Sunday, big city taking a nap. Slow down, it's Sunday, life's a ball, let it fall right in your lap. If you've got troubles, just take them out for a walk. They'll burst like bubbles in the fun of a Sunday in New York. You can spend time watching people pass by, pass by. Wow. Later you pause and in one of the stars there's that face next to yours in the glass. Two hearts stop beating. You're both too breathless to speak. Love smiles her greeting, and the dream that has seen you through the week comes true on Sunday in New York. So you can take a short nautical break. There are boats by the lake for hire. And if it should storm, you make it on home and get cozy and warm by a fire. By Monday morning, you're both agreed it was fate. As day comes dawning, if you can't pick a spot or set a date, you met on Sunday, New York on Sunday, so make it Sunday in New York, in New York. Billy's Place, the vibe is light and breezy. Billy's Place, it's a virtual speakeasy. My home base, I'm glad that you stopped by. Time to grab a libation from the shelf. Have whatever you want, you gotta make it yourself. Sit back, relax, I'll make your troubles fly. A musical trip, nothing complicated, and if you tip, that's appreciated. Good fellowship with no mask on our face. From apartment 5 across the park, I'll be singing and swinging till it gets dark. Don't worry about finding a place to park, just park it at Billy's Place. Park it at Billy's Place. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Thursday night, September 17th. It's Billy's Place, episode 19. Oh my gosh. Just park it at Billy's Place, because tonight I'm going to sing for you lots of songs by one of my idols. The great, the iconic, the brilliant Mel Tormé. So park it at Billy's Place. Here's a song that Mel sang in his second movie appearance in a film called Words and Music. It was the loosely based account of the life of Lawrence Hart. And about halfway through the picture, Mel shows up and sings this iconic song by Rodgers and Hart. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon. Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday evening. I'm so glad you've joined me here in my living room for another episode of Billy's Place. I'm your host, Billy Stritch, and tonight, as I said before, we are celebrating the music, some of the music, of one of my all-time favorite singers, one of my idols, the great Mel Tormé. I've loved Mel Tormé for almost as long as I can remember. I was privileged to know Mel Tormé, and I'm just an uber fan. There's no way I can touch on all the great songs that we'd be here for days. But tonight I'm going to hopefully touch on some of your favorite songs. That first one, as I mentioned, I didn't mention about the first one. New York on Sunday is from the film Sunday in New York, 1961. The song was sung, the theme song in the movie was sung by Mel Tormé, and the song was written by Peter Nero and Carol Coates. And the last one, Blue Moon, is from the film Words and Music, although it was written 25 or 30 years before that film. But Mel plays the very important, pivotal role of a band leader named Mel, and he gets to sing that song. And right after that, that song was released as a single on Decca Records and became a #1 song for Mel. Mel Tormé. Okay, before I get started, I want to welcome everybody and drink a toast to all of you tonight. The signature cocktail this week is a pretty obscure one, but God, it turned out really well. This is called the Velvet Fog. Go figure. That was a nickname that Mel never particularly liked so much, but I think it's kind of apropos. And Doug looked this drink up online a few days ago. We found this recipe, and it's vodka based, so already it's a step ahead for me. And it's got some lime juice and some orange juice, and it's got this very obscure liqueur that I had never heard of called Velvet Falernum. It's from Barbados. And I ordered it a couple days ago. I didn't think it would arrive, but it showed up yesterday. It's got a little bit of ginger, and it's got a lot of spice. It's spicy, like the Caribbean. And you put a little bit of bitters, and you top it off. You shake it, top it off with a little bit of nutmeg on the top, and it makes a gorgeous, slightly tart but very potent drink. So I'm going to enjoy it as the show goes on, and you'll see me just kind of descend as it goes on. But that's why we like Billy's Place and the drinks. If you don't have a Velvet Fog, I hope you're enjoying a glass of wine or your favorite libation or just a frosty Coca-Cola, whatever you enjoy drinking. So, happy birthday to Bill Griggs, who's been watching me ever since we started. He had his birthday yesterday. He wrote me and said, I'm all set to watch you tonight on my birthday. I said, that's great, except I'm not on tonight. I'm on tomorrow. So he said he'd be watching. A lot of people are getting their days mixed up in the midst of all this. And I tell you, the only reason I'm not is because Thursdays ground me by doing this show. And so I'm awfully glad that you've joined me here week in and week out as we celebrate some great singers and songwriters. So Mel Tormé, born in 1925, September 13th. So his birthday was just a few days ago. He would have been 95 years old. He died about 21 years ago, I think 20 years ago, way too soon. Um, and just way before his time, but he certainly accomplished a lot in his short lifetime. He was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1925, and from the very, very young age, it was very apparent to his parents and everyone around that he had this incredible musical talent because he used to listen to radio. They would play these big band broadcasts on the radio, and he would sit up in his crib at the age of 1 and sing along with these big bands perfectly in pitch, perfectly with this great rhythm. I mean, he's one of these people that came into this world with this incredible musical mind. And so that was very impressive to his parents and this kid in the neighborhood who had this incredible talent. Forget about it. And one of the bands that they used to love to listen to was a band called the Coon Sanders Orchestra. And every Sunday night, they would do this broadcast from the Black Hawk restaurant in Chicago. And so the family would listen to this on radio. But when Mel was 4 years old, as the story goes, they decided to go watch the orchestra live, go have dinner, big night for the family, go to the Black Hawk, have dinner, and see the Coon Sanders Orchestra live. So evidently, when the band kicked in to start playing, little Melvin Howard Tormé stood up in his chair and started singing along because he'd been listening to all these songs and he knew the words and he could sing in pitch, and everybody around was just enamored and the waiters were thrilled, and it was the cutest thing. And I think when the orchestra took a break, some of the musicians came over to say hello. They had noticed this kid with this incredible talent, and they said, you know, you should really come back on a Monday night because that's the night that we have the talent competition, and you know, bring him in, have him sing a song because it's a $15 grand prize. So that's what they did. They brought him in on a Monday. He sang with the band and he won the $15 grand prize. And because it was such a novelty and he was so good, and this 4-year-old who could do it all, they offered him a contract to come and sing on Sunday nights with the band during the live radio broadcast, sing 3 songs every Sunday night for $15 a week, plus dinner for the family. So this is 1929. This is the very beginning of the Great Depression, and little Mel Tormé at age 4 is already winning bread for the family. This is the song that so it goes. So I've read, so he wrote in his autobiography, and so I've heard. This is the song that he sang that night with the orchestra, and Mel would sing it in later shows, and he would pair it with a song called Moten Swing. So I'm going to try to do justice to the arrangement that Mel did of that great song. It's called, well, I'm not going to tell you. Just imagine this 4-year-old kid in a white and blue sailor suit, little 4-year-old Mel Tormé in front of this band. This is what he sings. You're driving me crazy. What did I do? What did I do? My tears for you make everything hazy. Cloud in my skies are blue. How true were the friends who were near me to cheer me? believe me, they knew. But you were the kind who would hurt me, desert me when I needed you. You're driving me crazy. What did I do? What did I do to you? Babe, what did I do? Could it be so bad that you would treat me the miserable way you do? I'm preaching at your mama, babe. Whatever I done, won't you forgive and forget and let me come running on home to you. I need you. How true were the friends who were near me to cheer me? Believe me, they knew. But you were the kind who would hurt me, desert me when I needed you. You are driving me crazy. Count Basie. What did I do to you? What did I do to you to make you go? I know I need you, babe. I miss you so. Why don't you pack your suitcase? Come on home, 'cause I'm waiting here by a silent telephone, 'cause I love you and I need you. What did I do? You're driving me crazy. That was the song in 1929 that Mel Tormé first sang on a stage, and that night a star was born, and the rest is history. I didn't mention before that I usually do this in the little beginning wrap up, and I've sung this song for the past couple of weeks, but I like it so much I'm going to sing it for you again. It's about the merchandise at Billy's Place. We've got tote bags, we've got t-shirts, we've got coffee mugs galore, we've got tumblers large and small, and we've got coasters by the score, we've got mouse pads, caps, and cheese boards. There's so much in the store. What are we adding? We're adding more. Well, that's not exactly true, because last week we did add the throw pillows, and this week, I think you guys, I jumped the gun because I know I announced that I had a new CD, and I have actually received copies of the new CD, but I can't get them out to you until the release date, which is October 21st. It's next month. Yeah, it's October 28th, I believe. No, that's not right. 23rd. Yes, 23rd, October 23rd. Hello. I'm sorry I got fluffed up on that. So it's next month that the album actually is going to be officially released everywhere. But however, we are taking pre-sales for the album now. So if you want to be the first in your block to get a copy, they'll be sent out right in the middle of October. So by the time the album is released, you will have it in your hot little hand. I recorded this album about a month ago in Nashville. It's just piano and vocal, and it's, you guys, I'm so happy with the way it came out. First of all, I do the Billy's Place theme, which I know a lot of people wanted to hear. I do that great song, Meet Me Midnight by Barry Manilow. Skylark, I Thought About You. I do this song I did months ago called Ordinary Miracles that Marvin Hamlish wrote with Alan and Marilyn Bergman. And also a new song that I wrote with my friend Sandy Knox called Since You Left New York. There's 12 songs on the album, and you can order it now, and you will have it by the release date next month. Now, If you are watching me and enjoying the show, I say this every single week because there are no jobs yet out of this apartment to speak of. And so I love doing the show every week, but I do depend on your kindness if at all possible. And it's not totally necessary. It's not necessary at all if you're not able to donate. I just want you to enjoy the show. But if you are able to send in a little bit of a donation, no amount is too large or too small to help me keep this show going week after week. There are two ways you could do that via the Venmo app, which is Billy-Stritch, and the other one is on PayPal, and that's at billystritch.com. No, billystritch at yahoo.com. And also, some people don't like to use those apps, so feel free to write me in Facebook Messenger, and I will let you know where you can send a check. And all of that is really, really appreciated. You guys have been so generous. And a special deal this week only, because we are celebrating Mel Tormé. About a few years ago, actually, I recorded a CD called Billy Stritch Sings Mel Tormé, because I've been doing this music for a long time. And if you are able to send me $20 or more this week as a tip, I will send you a signed copy of Billy Stritch Sings Mel Tormé. All you have to do is put your address in the comments on Venmo or on PayPal. And if you'd like it personalized, just tell me who to sign it to, and I will put that in the mail. And I will do this all this week up through Wednesday of next week. So it's just a Mel Tormé special this week. $20 or more will get you the Billy Stritch Sings Mel Tormé CD. Anyway, nothing is necessary. It's all wonderful. I'm happy you're here enjoying the show. And now that I got all the housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to continue with my tale of Mel Tormé. So Mel grew up in Chicago, Illinois. He was a child radio star from the time he was 6 or 7. He was very sought after, and he did voices, played characters on shows like The Romance of Helen Trent and Trixie True Teen Detective, and all these great shows that were playing at the time. And he also started at a young age playing the drums. This was around the time that swing music was really coming in. And so when he got to be in junior high and high school, he started sitting in with bands, forming his own bands, and doing these incredible musicianship from the age of 10, 11, 12, 13. And also he showed aptitude as a songwriter. This is a song that I don't do in my normal Mel Tormé show, but when I was going through my box of music, I found this song, and somebody sent me, when I did a show at the 92nd Street Y a few years ago about Mel Tormé, and somebody sent me this sheet music. This is a song called Lament to Love, and it was written, words and music, by Mel Tormé when he was 15 years old. And it took off in Chicago. The Fred Waring Orchestra recorded it. Artie Shaw's orchestra recorded it. Mel Tormé already was a hit songwriter at that young age. So to give you an idea of how advanced he was at the time, I'm going to sing this song that Mel wrote the words and the music to at age 15. The moon was low, you kissed me tenderly. I loved you so, we were in ecstasy. I wished upon a star, but I reached too far. This is my lament to love. The night we met, you promised to be true. I can't forget the thrill of loving you. The dreams that we had planned were all made of sand. This is my lament to love. Never before, never have I been so sad and blue. He was 15, okay? Wondering what to do, wondering why you said goodbye to romance, my darling. the lonely night still finds me here alone. There is no light to guide my footsteps home. I only pray that you will come back to stay, ending my lament to love. Seems like Mel was a serious child. I mean, that's some pretty heady stuff at 15. I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, talk about, I don't know whether to laugh or be sad about that song, but there you go. He had this incredible talent, and boy, he had this understanding of love and romance at a young age. He was an early developer, I guess. I mean, he was, he went with Ava Gardner, so and Lana Turner, so I guess it was all good for him. He moved to Los Angeles at a young age. He graduated high school when he was almost 17, and he wanted to drop out of high school. And his parents were like, no, 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 no. So he stayed in high school, but just a matter of days after he graduated, he went on the road with the Chico Marx Orchestra as the auxiliary drummer and the juvenile singer. And they were touring the country. You know, everybody those days had a big band. So he jumped on, toured with that band for 5 months, and then they got to the Coconut Grove, I believe, in Los Angeles. And then that was around the time that war was breaking out, and the band broke up in LA. And instead of going back to Chicago, Mel stayed in LA at the age of 17 and started his incredible career then. Turn my light. Okay, I need the light for this. Okay, Doug's giving me notes. But after this song, I'm not going to need it. Actually, I don't need it for this one song. This light, I know we're trying to figure out a way to make this reading light not so bright. Anyway, this he was in LA at age 17. He was singing in clubs. He formed a group called Mel Tormé and the Mel Tones, and he started collaborating with one of his most important relationships, a great lyricist, mainly lyricist, but also composer as well, named Robert Wells. Robert Wells wrote the theme to the Patty Duke show. He had a big career on television, but he and Mel met up in the 40s. And he also was married to Lisa Kirk at one point, for all of you theater people. And they got together and they wrote, one of the big songs they wrote was Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, which I was going to sing, but I feel like it's a touch too early. But don't worry, I'm going to sing it on a show when it gets colder outside. But this is another song they wrote around that time. Also became a big hit. Also very moody and very brooding and a very torturous, kind of tempestuous, kind of emotional love song. This is called Born to Be Blue. Some folks are meant to live in clover, but they are such a chosen few. Clover being green is something I've never seen, 'cause I was born to be blue. When there's a yellow moon above me, they say there's moonbeams I can view. But moonbeams being gold are something I can't behold, for I was born to be blue. When you were here, the world was bright and sunny. When you left, the curtain fell. I'd like to laugh, but nothing strikes me funny. Now my world's a faded pastel. I know I'm luckier than some men. I've known the thrill of loving you, and That alone is more than I was created for. For I was born to be blue. I'd like to laugh, but nothing strikes me funny. Now my world's a faded pastel. Well, I guess I'm luckier than some men. I've known the thrill of loving you, and that alone is more than I was created for. For I was born to be blue. Born to be Blue by Robert Wells and Mel Tormé. They went on to write a lot of stuff together besides the Christmas song and that song. They wrote a song called I'm a Stranger in Town. They wrote a piece of music that it's kind of a long piece of music, but people always want me to do part of it because they remember it. So I'm going to do just a little bit. It was from a Disney film called So Deep in My Heart, So Dear to My Heart. It's a song called County Fair. And I've only sung it once, and I'm not going to sing the whole thing. I'm just going to give you a little taste of that. Hody-I, hody-ay, what a great big wonderful day. Not a care in the air. Everybody you know from Matilda and Joe will be there at the county fair. Hody-ay, hody-ay, come and throw your troubles away. Just a grin gets you in on this day of the year when there's nothing but cheer to share at the county fair. And it goes on. I mean, if you have a chance to check this out on YouTube, it is so much fun because it starts with that little bit, and then there's a whole thing about Mrs. Perkins Pickles, and there's a whole thing about this little black sheep who's going to win the blue ribbon at the fair. Check it out on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. About 20 years later, Mel Tormé made an appearance on It's so great. If you are a fan of Lucille Ball, and who isn't? This is a very special episode of that show from 1966. And it's from The Lucy Show, the middle series. And Mel Tormé was a guest. Lucy was such a fan of talent and good musicians, and I love knowing that about her. And there was an episode. This is a kind of an episode that doesn't take place at Mr. Mooney's. It doesn't take place house. Viv is not in the episode at all. This episode opens up with Lucy and Mr. Mooney getting off a train in a little, very old-fashioned Americana kind of town called Bancroft, any state, USA. It's not saying, but they get off. So the whole set is different. It's this Main Street set. And what's happened is that Mr. Mooney has gotten in on a deal with the Highway Commission to build a highway through town. It's that old chestnut story. And we can't build a highway through the town because it'll ruin this. What are we going to do to Doc's drugstore and everything? We have to preserve it. So the whole episode becomes about Lucy meeting all these wonderful townspeople. And one of the people that she meets is Mel Tinker, who is actually Lucy Carmichael's neighbor in Los Angeles. And she walks out, and Mel walks, and she goes, "Mel Tinker, what are you doing here?" He goes, "Well, this is my hometown, and my parents are so upset about the highway coming through town that I thought I'd come to town to cheer them up." So that's a good reason for Mel Tormé to be in a show, I think. But John Bubbles is on the episode. There's a great number that he and Lucy do a soft shoe together, but it culminates in this great song that Mel Tormé wrote the words and music to. And my friend Chris Smith in Provincetown, Massachusetts, you better be watching right now because he has requested this song for me for years and years. And I keep telling him I'm not going to do it. And I decided today that I'm going to do it for you. So this is from 1966, The Lucy Show. There's a place that I know that I remember long ago, known as Main Street, USA. What a thrill, what a treat, every time you put your feet on the pavement of Main Street, USA. Not a big thoroughfare, all by you didn't care, 'cause you walked down the square and your neighbors were there, and you'd see all the sights that you'd seen there before, from the livery stable to the old drugstore. Life was sweet, life was slow, you would greet the ones you know, and you passed the time of day. When your heart's in a rut, don't you ever wonder whatever happened to Main Street, USA. Hey, by the way, are you wishing what I'm wishing? What do you say we get together and sign a big petition to preserve a wonderful American tradition, Main Street, USA. Hey, by the way, are you wishing what I'm wishing? What do you say we get together and sign a big petition to preserve a wonderful American tradition, Main Street, USA. Main Street, USA. Now, if isn't that rousing? I mean, I just love it. I loved Chris. I hope you're happy. I love that Mel Tormé, that Lucille Ball loved Mel Tormé. And you know who else Lucille Ball loved? Lucille Ball loved Lucy Arnaz. And she is on the phone with me right now. Hello.
Wow, you did that very, very nicely, Mrs. Tish. You
Well,
would have been proud.
Thank you. How are you, love?
I'm fine, Billy. I love this show. I love being able to sit here at home. It's so much cheaper than Bemelman's bar, and I can see you all dressed up, and you play so beautiful. And we got a whole, we have a whole a community here in Palm Springs, California, that sits and watches you when you do these shows.
I do know that. I'm so thrilled about that because I love all of you in Palm Springs. I miss seeing you all there, but I know you're all being safe and healthy,
Yep.
and we will see each other on the other side of all this. But I'm so delighted that you agreed to come and talk to me a little bit today about well, it's Mel Tormé, but all roads, I feel like, in one way or another, lead to Lucille Ball, especially in show business. I mean, wouldn't you say? Because in the course of certainly the second two series, she had all the great guests that there ever were. Absolutely.
Well, that's one of the best things about being on the Here's Lucy show. In those 6 years, we got a chance to work with some of the really most amazing, interesting, not always huge, big stars. Sometimes they were Elizabeth Taylor's and Jackie Gleason's and Jack Benny's, but sometimes just amazing actors like Wally Cox and Bruce Buzzy and the Carol Burnett every year.
I
and
know.
All these musical numbers like you're talking about. I thought it was very interesting back when it was the Lucy, starting with I Love Lucy, then the Lucy show, and certainly with Here's Lucy, full out musical shows. Who was doing that back then?
I mean, and that particular
situation comedy.
No, but that particular episode, it's like, as I said before, it doesn't even take place. It's a whole new set. No. It's a whole new thing. And there's 3 musical numbers in it. And then at the end, your mom comes down and as the majorette and fringe and pink and everything, and choreography and John Bubbles and a whole brass band. I mean, they spent a lot of money and put a lot of I watched it this afternoon. Honestly, I sat down at 5 o'clock and watched that episode again. I love it so much. But the one that I really, really love, and I want you to talk about the one where you and your mom dance with Ginger Rogers. That to me is amazing. I mean, what do you remember? I mean, do you remember anything specific?
I do. I remember that very specifically because normally we do our show with a 4-day rehearsal, and at the end of the 4th day, we do it in front of a live audience with 3 cameras filmed. and just like they used to do the I Love Lucy shows and the Lucy shows.
Right.
This particular week, Ginger Rogers was the guest star. We had a whole wonderful script and everything, and this big choreographed number that we were to do with her. And the Monday was the day we get the scripts, read it through, and block it and everything. And Monday mid-afternoon, we get word that the actors are going to go on strike, like tomorrow or tomorrow night at midnight, and that meant no show. We can't finish the show. We can't get to Thursday. And they weren't sure it was going to happen, but it looked like it pretty much was.
Sure.
So my mother made this crazy decision that we were going to try to shoot the whole show in one day. And all of a sudden, Ginger looked at me and she goes, "Well, we have a dance number. You know, we have to choreograph a dance number." And so we said, "Well, it's going to be the Charleston." And so you were the Charleston champ, so you're going to do Charleston. And I said, "And I just did a craft music hall show. We did a whole thing. I can throw some of that in." My mother said, "Just teach it to me quick." So we rehearsed this thing. And we rehearsed it between the three of us, and we did that little dance. Meanwhile, the costumers are running around like, what are they going to wear? And somebody's trying to fix the rest of the show. We learned a scene, shot the scene, learned a scene, shot the scene. Wow. No audience, no nothing. And you would never know it when you look at that. And after that, we found out the actors did not go on strike. So we didn't even have to do that.
But then you had a few days off. You had a vacation for a few days, right? Till the next week.
It was pretty powerful stuff. And I just thought, my biggest thrill was choreographing a dance number with Ginger Rogers. Come on.
I'll
Ginger,
say. I mean,
no, not that way, Ginger. Go this way.
Oh my! I can hear you. I can absolutely hear you do it. Yeah, absolutely, sure. And I'm sure she went right along. She went right along with it.
She did. Yeah. She was so happy that have somebody just tell her what to do. This was a terrifying thing for all of us. You know?
Course.
And she told me what to do, and I told her what to do. It was great.
I just like three.
We're sort of related anyway. She's my mother's cousin. She's a second cousin to my mom, so we've always kidded that we're family. And,
right.
It was a little easier because I knew that. But you know what I remember about the Mel Tormé
Tell me.
Main Street thing was that that set, they left the set up until Saturday night. Usually they tear it down right after the show on Thursday, but they left it up, which must have cost them a pretty penny, till Saturday night because I had just done my high school production of Oklahoma at Immaculate Heart High School, and I wanted to throw the cast party at my house, and my mother said, "Hell no, we have a great big fabulous set, you know, at the studio." So we got buses, and the whole company, all the girls from Immaculate Heart and the guys who had the other parts from our production of Oklahoma, went over to the studio to this big set, and my mother had it all decorated like it was, you know, a big country thing, like bales of hay and wonderful country fried chicken and stuff. And I had my cast party on that set. I'll never forget that.
That's fantastic. I just love that.
By the way, if you're thinking,
what do you say
we get together and sign a big petition? I mean, come on.
That's so exactly. It's so friggin' cute, and I've seen it over and over again. I watched it today, and I was totally charmed. And Burt Mustin is in it. He was like 100 years old then. I mean, there's like all the great character actors are in this thing, but I just love the fact that you had your cast party on the set on the Lucy show set. I just love that. I mean,
she used to do crazy stuff like that, and she made that whole episode happen because she adored Mel Tormé so much. And he was also a neighbor. He lived down the street. Yeah, I grew up with Steve March.
Yes,
you know, his son.
It's our buddy.
Yeah, became Steve March Tormé, but he's Mel's son, and then his father was Hal March, his stepfather, our buddy Steve.
Yep.
And that was an era, you know, of just these amazing people who could just come over to your house and sit down at the piano and just entertain for an hour, like you.
Well, I know. I mean, I'm so happy that you and I met about, I want to say 30 years ago now, through our friend Liza Minnelli, you know, and you guys grew up together. I think, what are you, like 6 years apart in age, maybe something like that. Who's counting? But but I know you guys have known each other forever, and to hear you guys' stories about growing up, I mean, it was just the neighborhood. I mean, that's what Liza always said. I mean, everybody's parents were stars, but they were just like, oh, it's Lucy's parents. Oh, it's great. You know,
I saw a great picture of Liza on the set of the Long Long Trailer that was online the other day. And it says, this is Lucille Ball from the set of the Long Long Trailer, directed by Vincent Minnelli. And it didn't say anything about the girl that was standing right next to her. And I was like, you fool, that's Liza Minnelli.
Exactly, I know.
She was like 4 at the time when they did that
Of
movie.
course. And you were just like a baby wavy, if that.
She was, she probably was, she must have been 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
But I never knew her back then. I never met Liza until she started dating my brother.
Started dating Jesse, of course. Right. You're like, who's this older woman dating? Right. I understand.
met a lot of girls. Yes.
I remember. Well, this is like a great. I could talk to you for hours, but this is a perfect jumping off point because the next song I'm going to sing is one you just referred to. I remember a really great night when I was doing this my nightclub version of this show at the Metropolitan Room, and I sang this next song, which is a song that your darling mother and father sing in the Long Long Trailer, directed by Liza's darling father, Vincent. And I started to sing the song, and I looked out, and you guys were sitting on the same banquette, and you were holding hands and just beaming. And I thought, oh, this is the happiest moment of my life to know the two of you.
We were doing more than beaming. We were singing along.
Oh, I remember that. I know. I remember that. So I'm going to sing that song just for you now.
I love it. Thank you. I'm so excited. Thanks for doing this. It's great to talk to you.
I'm so happy to talk to you, darling. Give Larry a big hug for me and Sue and everybody you see, okay? Just give everybody my love.
Billy.
And we'll talk soon.
Right.
And you're just, you know how much, I can't even tell you how much I love you, but you know that. Okay. So
I miss you so much.
I miss you too.
Go breathe.
All right. I'm going to take a breath, and then I'm going to sing this song just for you. Good night, love.
Okay.
Take care. Bye. Lucie Arnaz. Oh, she's a pal. This is that song, and I mashed it up with a song that Mel sang years later in a film called Dick Tracy. He doesn't appear in the film, and actually all you hear of him is about 8 seconds of this song on a passing car radio that's songs written by Stephen Sondheim. But talk about two songs that work really well together. Lucie Arnaz. Let's applaud for Lucy. How much do we love her? Ah, fantastic. I have been a rover since I was a child. No one to love or care for me. Searched the whole world over, grew up kind of wild. My home's wherever I may be. Just breezing along with the breeze, trailing the rails, roaming the seas, like the birdies that sing in the trees, pleasing to live and to please. The sky is the only roof I have over my head. And when I'm weary, Mother Nature makes me a bed in a trailer. I'm just going along as I please, breezing along with the breeze. I live alone and like it, free as the birds in the trees. High above the briars, live alone and like it, I do whatever I please. When my heart desires, free to hang around or fly at any old time. No equivocation, most of all, no guarantees. That's my only motto, free of obligation, only the murmuring trees. As an obbligato, live alone and like it, why is that such a crime? Free to call the tune, free to say if I'm gonna work or play, I can have the moon, but I don't have to have it night and day. Anyway, what I like is gliding where the wind takes me to, flying high and hiding up in a tree. Live alone and like it, that's the answer for me. Free free to turn the page, free to say if I'm gonna work or play, free to disengage if the story starts getting too involved. Problem solved, I'm on my own with only me to concern myself. Doesn't mean I'm lonely, just that I'm free. Live alone and like it, that's the answer for me. The answer for me. The answer for me. And the sky is the only roof I have over my head. And when I'm weary, Mother Nature makes me a bed. And I'm just going along as I please, breezing along with the breeze, breezing along, breezing along with the breeze, breezing along. Breezing along with the breeze. Breezing along with the breeze from that great film, The Long, Long Trailer, and the second song from the film Dick Tracy. If you just joined us, this is Billy's Place. I'm your host, Billy Stritch. I'm having such a great time singing the music of one of my favorites of all time, the great Mel Tormé. And if you are able to donate something to the cause, if this would be a night that you'd be going out or having dinner or spending money in a live club, hearing live music, think of it that way. If you can send a little money for the music charge. If you don't have to. If you're not able to, I'm happy to do this as a gift. But every little bit helps. And if you're able to send $20 or more this week, as I mentioned, I'll send you a copy of Billy Stritch Sings Mel Tormé. That last song, Breezing Along with the Breeze, is on it. So many of the songs I'm singing tonight. And just put your address in the comments of the app and tell me how you want it personalized. And I'll get that in the mail to you this week. Only for the next few days, through next Wednesday. So anyway, I'm going to move on. I was able to see New York, Mel Tormé many times in New York. From, I guess the first time I saw him, I must have been about 19 or 20, but I was just hooked on him. When I was, I guess 1980, he released an album called Live at Marty's, Live with Friends at Marty's, and it's just a fabulous album. But this ballad in particular is one that really stuck with me, and it was written many years ago by Willard Robeson, and Mel did so many wonderful things with great songs, but this one stands out for me. This is called A Cottage for Sale. Our little dream castle with every dream gone, so silent and lonely, the shades are all drawn. My heart is heavy as I gaze upon a cottage for sale. The lawn we were proud of is waving in hay. Our beautiful garden has withered away. Where we planted roses, the weeds seem to say, a cottage for sale. Through every window I see your face. But when I reach the window, there's empty space. The key in the mailbox, the same as before. But no one is waiting for me anymore. The end of our story is told on the door. A cottage for sale. Through every window, I see your face. But when I reach that window, there's empty space. The key in the mailbox, the same as before. But no one is waiting for me anymore. The end of our story is told on the door. A cottage for sale. Quite possibly the saddest song ever written. But I love sad, you know. If it's written well, it's good. Cheers, everybody. My velvet fog. I hope you're all doing well tonight. We're in the middle of September. It's hard to believe. But time marches on. And I'm so glad that you've taken an hour out of your week to spend time with me and let me sing for you, because it's what I love to do. And it wouldn't be nearly as much fun if you weren't there for me to sing to. So thank you so much. This is a song that became very associated with Mel Tormé in 1950. He had, the year before, 6 months before, had recorded an album live at the Crescendo, I believe. And then that album came out. It was a success here in America. And then Mel Tormé made his first tour of London and the UK. He had never toured over there before. So 1950, he would have been 25. And he was a big success over there, big radio success. And there was a DJ who especially loved him and loved this version from the Crescendo album. And what he did is he started playing this version of that live album. Was never meant to be released as a single for radio. He played it over and over and over again, and it hit the top 10 in London. And it was a big hit for Mel. And then when he came back to America, it became a big hit for him here. And it's a song written in 1924 by Rodgers and Hart. I have loved it. You guys, I recorded this song on my very first demo tape. I was trying to find the cassette of it, and it's in a box somewhere. Some week I'll drag it out and play you. I sang it on that that tape when I was, I guess, maybe 17, 18 years old. And then on my very first CD I did for DRG Records in 1992, I sang it. And then I recorded an album about 2000 called Jazz Live. Did it from the Jazz Standard. I sang this song. And then on my Mel Tormé album that I did in 2008, I sang it again. What can I say? So I've recorded it 3 times. I don't think I'll be recording it anymore, uh, and but I certainly will keep it in my repertoire. This is called Mountain Greenery. On the 1st of May, it is moving day. Spring is here, so blow your job, throw your job away. Now's the time to trust to your wanderlust. In the city's dust, you wait. Must you wait? Just you wait. Mountain greenery, ho ho, it's scenery in the mountain greenery where God paints the scenery. Just two crazy people together. While you love your love, let blue skies be your covenant. When it rains, we'll laugh at the weather. And if you're good, I'll search for wood, and you can cook while I stand looking. Beans could get no keener reception in a beanery. Bless our mountain greenery home. Sabadoo-dow, sabadoo-dow, sabadoo-doo-doo-doo-doo, you-doo-doo-doo, ba-da-ba-da-doo-doo-doo, you-da-da, you-da-da-ba-da-bum. Mosquitoes here won't bite you, dear. I'll let them sting me on my finger. We could get no keener retreat from life's machinery. Bless our mountain greenery, oh, what crazy scenery in a mountain greenery where God paints the scenery. Just two crazy people together, always together. While you love your love, will let the blue skies be. Oh, God, that if it rains, we'll laugh at the weather. And if you're good, I'll search for wood, and you can cook while I stand looking. We could get no keener retreat from life's machinery, and no matter where I'm at, oh, beats could get no keener reception in a beanery. How we love sequestering where no best are bestering. We could find no keener retreat from life's machinery. Woo! Bless our mountain greenery, oh, what crazy scenery. Bless our mountain greenery, oh, mountain greenery. Woo! That's a workout, but I love singing it. I've been doing it a long time, and it's a fun one to sing. And after that one, I need water from my Billy's Place tumbler. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. God, this time has gone fast. What time is it? Let's see. Can I tell from my, oh yeah, well, it's about time. I got 2 more songs to do, guys. But one more time, if you're able to donate, please donate via PayPal or Venmo, or you can send me a check, send me your, I'll tell you in Facebook, a messenger, send me a message. That's what I'm trying to say. I'll send you that info. If you could send $20 or more, I'm going to send you a Mel Tormé CD signed just for you. This is a song that Mel recorded 12 different times, and I saw him sing it many times in concert. And he recorded it with big orchestras and smaller groups, and very memorably for me with the great George Shearing. And I've also been doing this song a long time. I think it tells a wonderful, wonderful love story. When two lovers meet in Mayfair, so the legends tell, songbirds sing, winter turns to spring, Every winding street in Mayfair falls beneath its spell. I know such enchantment can be, 'cause it happened one evening to me. That certain night, the night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. The moon that lingered over London town, poor puzzled moon, he wore a frown. How could he know we were so much in love? The whole darn world seemed upside down. The streets of town were paved with stars. It was such a romantic affair. And as we kissed and said goodnight, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. When dawn came stealing up all gold and blue to interrupt our rendezvous, I still remember how you smiled and said, was that a dream, or was it true? Our homeward step was just as light as the tap dancing feet of a stair, like an echo far away. A nightingale sang in Berkeley. Nightingale sang in Berkeley. A nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. Thank you very much. I love singing that song. And I've loved having you with me here tonight. Before I go, I'd like to tell you one quick little personal story. When I was working with my vocal group called Montgomery Plant and Stritch in 1988, we worked together for about 8 years, but in 1988 we were invited to take part in the JVC Jazz Festival here in New York at Carnegie Hall. And it was an evening tribute to vocal singers and vocal groups, and we got to open for the great Mel Tormé on the stage of Carnegie Hall. So needless to say, that was thrilling. It was thrilling for my whole family, my mother and father and my sister and brother and my grandmother, who I just adored. and we were so connected because she just loved that I was a musician. And when I was 10 years old, she gave me the George Gershwin songbook, and she took me to theater when I was young. And she just loved seeing me anywhere, but especially on the stage at Carnegie Hall. So my whole family made this trip up to see us that night. They made a week of it here in New York. It was magical time in 1988. But the show was fantastic. We had the rehearsal with Mel that afternoon at the stage at Carnegie Hall. We showed up. We did our songs. He could not have been nicer. He actually got on stage and wanted to know all about us and where we'd been working and what our plans were. And then he made some suggestions, because I think we opened with 7 songs. And he said, that closing song, that should be the opening song. And then this one you're doing here, close with that. So he shuffled the set around, and he was absolutely right. It was great. And he didn't have to give us that kind of attention. I mean, it's not normal for a headliner to spend time with the opening act and do things like that. But he certainly was fantastic. So the show happened. It was wonderful. Afterwards, we all go backstage. My whole family, we all go around, and there's probably about 100 people that are waiting to see Mel Tormé. And my grandmother really, really wanted to meet him. She just loved the whole night. And I said, well, just hang tight, Grandma, because he's got some friends around him, and but as soon as he's not really busy, I'm sure he'd be happy to meet you. I'll take you over there. So I turn around and I'm talking to some other people, and then I reach over and my grandma, and she's not there. And I'm looking around we lost Grandma. And I look across and I look over there, and I see through the crowd. I see Mel Tormé in the crowd. I see my grandmother standing next to him with both of his hands in hers, pulling him down like, you're going to talk to me. I was like, oh dear God, what has happened? So she horned her way right in there. But it was good. I got closer, and it was great. They were having a lovely conversation. I think she was very charming, and he was very charming right back. And it really made her night. Well, this is the same time that Mel Tormé wrote his autobiography, which was called It Wasn't All Velvet. That's how much he loved that nickname. But he wrote his autobiography, and my grandma had bought it, and she called me up, and this was maybe a month or so after we did the show at Carnegie Hall. And she said, I just read Mel's book, and it's so good, and I think I want to write him a letter and tell him how much I enjoyed it. I wrote him a letter, and I said, well, Grandma, where did you write the letter? And she said, well, I wrote it and I sent it to the publisher. And I said, well, you're not gonna probably get a response from because it's like you don't have the agent's name or the publisher. I mean, you just have the publisher's so don't be upset if you don't hear anything. I thought that was really sweet. But 3 weeks later, she calls, she goes, you're not going to believe it. He wrote back. So the publisher had forwarded her letter to him. And God knows, I'm sure the letter was just all about how fabulous it was for him to have been the closing act at my show at Carnegie Hall or something like that. It was all about me, I'm sure. And I got proof of it, because what he did is he took the last page of her letter and he wrote a sweet little response and sent it back. And this is what it said. It said, loved your letter, Mary Alice. And yes, you do have a wonderfully talented grandson, Mel Tormé. So how about that? I mean, that really made her life, made my life. Thank you, Mel. I'm thanking you every day for that. That's a mensch. He couldn't have been nicer. And it was my pleasure and my honor to know him. And it's my pleasure and honor to sing about him tonight and to sing for you. I'm going to close out with another song that was a big, big hit for him. And coincidentally, it has the same title as a dear friend of mine who I would like to thank for calling in tonight, Lucie Arnaz. Thank you so much for being my guest. Doug Major, thank you as always for being my partner, my producer in all of this. Next week, I believe I'm going to do Johnny Mercer. So if you have any Johnny Mercer favorites, please write them in a message on Facebook Messenger and send that to me. This is for Lucy and for all of you. Have a great week.
You've heard about Dinah, you've heard about Susie, you've heard about Dinah, but I gotta get my old tuxedo pressed. I gotta sew a button on the vest, 'cause tonight I wanna look my best. Lulu's back in town. I gotta shine my shoes and slick my hair. I gotta find myself a boutonniere. I gotta find I have a buck somewhere. Lulu's back in town. You can tell all my pets, all my Harlem coquettes, Mr. Otis regrets that he won't be around. Now you can tell the mailman not to call. I ain't coming home until the fall. May not come back home at all. Lulu's back in town. You've heard about Margie. You've heard about Dinah. You've heard about Susie. But I gotta get my tuxedo pressed. I gotta sew a button on the vest, 'cause tonight I wanna look my best. Baloo. I gotta find a few bucks somewhere. I polish up my shoes and slick my hair. Gotta find myself a boutonniere for Lulu. You can't tell all my pets, all my blondes, redheads, and brunettes, Mr. Otis regrets that he won't be around. Now you can tell my friends not to call. I ain't coming back until the fall, and I may not be back home at all. Lulu's back in town. Lulu's back in town. Lulu's back in town. See you next week. Thank you.